Ever get this like weird feeling that your brain is just out here trying to like predict the future every second?
Well, yeah, actually. I mean, it's a question that's fascinated, like, everyone, right? Scientists, philosophers, you name it.
Totally. And there's this theory, the free energy principle, that tries to explain it, and like it might even hold the key to, get this, the future of AI.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty ambitious theory.
It really is.
Yeah.
We found this article that like breaks it down. And honestly, it's kind of wild to think about how our brains are always trying to like stay a step ahead of reality.
Right. The free energy principle, or FEP for short, it can seem a bit, I don't know, intimidating at first.
Yeah.
But when you get down to it, it's a pretty elegant idea.
Okay, elegant. I like that. So like what's the quick and dirty on the free energy principle?
Imagine this. Your brain, it's like a chess master,
Okay.
always trying to guess the next move, right?
Right.
That's kind of what FEP says. Our brains are constantly making these predictions about the world
Hmm.
based on, what we've experienced before.
So it's all about avoiding surprises.
Basically, the theory is that the brain is hardwired to minimize free energy.
Free energy, like perpetual motion machines that free energy.
Not exactly. It's more like how much our brains are surprised by stuff. Prediction error.
Okay, so less about breaking the laws of physics, more about our brains just hating to be caught off guard.
Exactly. Think about it from like way back when, right? Evolution,
Yeah.
being able to predict stuff like where to find food or
Or
shelter.
like not get eaten by a lion. Yeah.
Exactly. That was super important for survival. So FEP says this whole prediction thing, it's like a core part of how our brains work.
So it's not just about predicting like what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. It's like baked into our brain's DNA or something.
Yeah, that's the idea. And it does this by building models of the world, like building a library, but in your head.
So every single thing, what you see, hear, smell, everything, it all gets stored in this brain library to like help us make sense of what happens next.
Yep.
It uses all those past experiences to like understand the information coming in and then predictions.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So let's say I see a shadow right out of the corner of my eye. My brain might go, that's probably my cat.
Exactly. And most of the time, you'd be right. But what if it's not your cat? What if you look over and surprise, it's just a stack of books?
Prediction error time.
Bingo. The difference between what your brain thought was going to happen and what actually went down. And according to FEP, our brains are not fans of these errors.
Because it means we were wrong.
Well, yeah, but it's more than that. It's like a surprise party your brain didn't sign up for.
And remember, we're all about minimizing surprises here.
Right. So when there's a prediction error, your brain doesn't just go, oops, my bad. It's more like, okay, got to learn from that. Time to update the system.
So back to the cat shadow thing. My brain would be like, note to self, not all shadows are cats. Adjust predictions accordingly. Exactly. It's always tweaking its model based on new information. The bigger the surprise, the bigger the tweak.
So our brains are basically what, like prediction machines, just running in the background, making sure we're never too shocked by the world.
That's a pretty good way to put it. It's like having a personal assistant whose only job is to make sure you're never too far off base.
So it's not enough for our brains to just like observe the world. We're
Yeah.
not just taking it all in. We're actively trying to like figure out what's going to happen next.
Exactly. And that's where things get even more, I think, interesting. The free energy principle, it doesn't just explain how we react. It also explains like why we're so driven to explore,
Okay, yeah, tell me more about that.
So think of it this way. If minimizing those prediction errors, right, if that's your brain's main goal,
Right.
wouldn't it want to gather as much info as possible?
Makes sense. Yeah, like the more info you have, the better your predictions will be, right?
Exactly. We don't just like sit around and wait for info to come to us. Our brains are out here actively looking for it.
That's got to be active inference.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we're choosing to go out and get that info ourselves.
Exactly. Our brains want to test those models, those ideas about the world that they've built up. It's why, like, we ask questions. We're curious. It all comes back to this need to minimize those surprises, to make the world feel predictable.
So that's why I can't resist like a good mystery, right? And my brain is just trying to get ahead of the surprise ending.
Exactly. And this whole idea, this active inference thing, it actually has huge implications for, AI.
Oh, yeah. The free energy principle goes beyond like just our brains.
Totally. See, people who work on AI, they've been trying to figure out how to create machines that can, like, learn and adapt, just like we do.
And FEP, that might be how we do it.
It's possible. Most AI right now, it relies on these massive data sets, and these pre-programmed rules.
Right.
And that's fine for what they're trained to do, but they really struggle when it comes to new situations or things that require like a deeper understanding.
They don't have that same flexibility, that adaptability that our brains seem to have naturally.
Right. But some people think that if we incorporate FEP, if we build AI that uses prediction, error minimization, active inference,
Okay, yeah.
we could create AI that's way more robust, more adaptable, more intelligent.
So instead of just processing info, these FEP-powered AIs, they'd be like trying to predict, learn from their mistakes, and even explore, just like us.
Exactly. Imagine AI that can, I don't know, navigate a city, really understand human conversation, maybe even compose music.
It's like we're talking about a whole new level of AI, right? Not just tools, but something more like partners.
Yeah, that's a pretty exciting idea. And it all goes back to this basic principle of how our brains work, this drive to make sense of the world, to predict what's coming next.
It's amazing that this one theory that started with neuroscience could, like, change the future of AI. But the article also mentioned that it goes even further, that FEP can even be applied to evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a different way of looking at the whole evolutionary process.
So minimizing surprise, how does that play into survival of the fittest? I'm not sure I'm following. So minimizing surprise, how does that play into survival of the fittest? I'm not sure I'm following.
Okay, well, think of it like this. Creatures that are better at predicting stuff, at adapting to their environment, they're the ones that are more likely to survive, right?
Right, to live long enough to, like, have babies and pass on those, like, survival skills.
Exactly. So like a gazelle that can figure out where a predator is going to go, that gazelle is more likely to, stay alive, have more gazelles. And those baby gazelles, they're more likely to inherit those good prediction skills.
So over a really long time, those little advantages, those things that help them minimize surprise, those are the things that can really shape, like, a whole species.
Exactly. It's like evolution is this huge experiment in not being surprised. Crazy, right?
It is. And it doesn't stop there, right? The article also mentioned mental health. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty new area of research, but some people think that like anxiety and depression, they could be linked to how our brains make predictions.
So instead of, like, accurately predicting what's going to happen, our brains get stuck. And those thoughts, they can, like, turn into those conditions.
Yeah, that's the general idea. Like, imagine someone with social anxiety, right? Their brain might always think a social situation is way more threatening than it really is. And that can lead to, fear, wanting to avoid those situations.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
So using the right therapy, could you, like, retrain your brain to make better predictions?
That's the hope. Mental health is really complex, obviously, but FEP, it gives us a new way of understanding how our brains see the world and maybe how to help when those perceptions get a little messed up.
It's kind of wild how this one principle, this free energy principle, it connects so many things, like how our brains work, the future of AI, evolution, even mental health. It really makes you realize how much it's all connected.
Totally. And honestly, we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to learn.
It's like we've stumbled onto this fundamental truth, right? This need to understand the world around us, to predict what's going to happen, to adapt. It's what makes us human, I guess. And who knows, it might be what leads to a future with smarter, more adaptable AI.
It's a pretty exciting thought.
It is. So next time something unexpected happens, just take a second. Think about what your brain is doing behind the scenes, predicting, adapting, trying to make sense of it all.
Definitely something to think about.
Well, that's our deep dive on the free energy principle for today. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic, ready to unravel more mysteries.
See you then.